I don't know where to begin, except with the truth. The kind of truth that makes a man like me look foolish in front of the world. My name is Alexander Reed. Most people know me as the CEO of Reed Enterprises, the man whose signature can move millions, the man who made his first billion before 35. I've had headlines about me in Forbes, I've had luxury thrown at my feet, and yet here I am, sitting alone in the quiet of my study, confessing something I never thought I would. I fell in love with my maid. Not just any maid, her. Her name is Isabella Hart. She was 26 when she first walked into my mansion in Manhattan. She wasn't like the other staff. There was something in her posture, her coldness, the way she carried herself like nothing in this world could touch her. She wasn't rude, not exactly, but she had this icy distance that made everyone keep away. Most people thought she was just quiet, but I saw more. I saw walls so high around her that no one dared to climb. And God help me, I wanted to be the one who broke through. The first time I saw her, she was dusting the books in my library. She didn't even flinch when I walked in, didn't give me the wide-eyed reaction I was used to from women who saw me. Instead, she glanced up, nodded politely, and went back to her work. It irritated me. I wasn't used to being invisible, least of all in my own home. But it also intrigued me. Who was this woman who could look at Alexander Reed like he was no one? Days turned into weeks, and I began to notice her habits. She liked to hum softly when she thought no one was listening. She always tied her hair back too tightly, like she was punishing herself. She avoided eye contact whenever possible, and yet when her eyes did meet mine, they were the kind of gray that held storms inside them. I told myself I was imagining it. I told myself I didn't care. But then came the night I caught her standing by the window, staring out at the city lights long after her shift was over. She looked lonely, and something inside me cracked. "Long night?" I asked, stepping into the room. She jumped slightly, then immediately composed herself. "I didn't realize you were here, sir. I'll leave." "Stay," I said, and to my own surprise, my voice came out softer than I intended. "What are you thinking about?" She gave me that frosty look I'd come to know so well. "Nothing that concerns you, Mr. Reed." And just like that, she walked away. Cold, untouchable. But that was the moment I knew. I wasn't just interested. I was hooked. I tried to fight it. Believe me, I did. Men like me don't fall for women like her. We date supermodels, heiresses, socialites, women who smile for the cameras and wear diamonds to breakfast. But at night, when the mansion felt too big and the silence pressed down on me, I thought about her, about the way she never tried to impress me, about the mystery in her silence, about how her presence somehow made my world less hollow. I didn't just want her, I wanted to know her. And so began my downfall. My obsession, my confession. I wish I could say I handled it with dignity, that I kept my distance, respected boundaries, that I was the image of a responsible employer. But the truth? I became reckless. I found excuses to be in the same room with her, to ask her questions that had nothing to do with cleaning or schedules. I started noticing the smallest things, like the way she tucked a stray strand of hair behind her ear when she was frustrated, or how her lips pressed into a thin line whenever anyone complimented her work. One morning, I found myself lingering in the kitchen just to watch her make coffee. She moved with precision, no wasted effort, no unnecessary chatter. She placed the cup on the counter in front of me without looking up. Black, no sugar, just how you like it. "You've memorized my habits," I said lightly. "It's my job to notice," she replied, her voice flat. Her words were like frostbite, cold, impersonal. But behind it, I thought I saw something flicker in her eyes, something that told me she noticed more than she wanted to admit. And that was enough to keep me coming back. Weeks later, an incident shattered the facade. I was hosting a business dinner at the house, men in expensive suits, women in sparkling gowns. Isabella was serving wine, her expression as neutral as ever, when one of my guests, Richard Lawson, a smug venture capitalist with more ego than sense, decided to test her patience. He leaned too close, said something under his breath that made her freeze. I saw it, the stiffening of her shoulders, the tightening of her jaw. Before I even realized what I was doing, I was across the room. "Is there a problem, Richard?" He smirked. "Just making conversation. Pretty girl like this shouldn't be wasting her time serving drinks." Isabella's face didn't betray a thing, but her silence spoke louder than words. "Leave her alone," I said sharply. The room went quiet, every eye on me. Richard chuckled and raised his hands in mock surrender. But I saw the look Isabella gave me when I turned to leave. Not gratitude, not warmth, but something more complicated. Suspicion. Later that night, when the guests were gone, I found her in the pantry, her hands clenched into fists. "You didn't need to defend me," she said, her voice low but edged. "Yes, I did," I shot back. She finally looked at me then, really looked at me, and for the first time I saw the storm behind her eyes. "You don't understand. Men like you." She stopped, swallowing the rest of the sentence. "Men like me? What?" I pressed. "Men like you don't save women like me," she whispered. And then she walked away, leaving me more desperate than ever to uncover the story she was hiding. That night, I couldn't sleep. Her words haunted me. Men like you don't save women like me. What had she been through? What walls had she built to protect herself? And why did I feel like tearing them down piece by piece? I began noticing cracks in her icy armor. Sometimes, when she thought no one was watching, her hands trembled. Once, I overheard her on the phone, her voice shaking as she said, "I can't talk about this right now." Another time, I caught her slipping a small, worn photograph back into her pocket before quickly turning away. I knew then that she wasn't just distant for the sake of it. She was hiding something. Pain, maybe even danger. And against every rule of logic, I wanted to be the one she let in. But the more I reached for her, the further she pulled away. Until the night, everything changed. I never expected the turning point to come on such an ordinary night. It was raining outside, the kind of cold rain that lashes against the windows like it's trying to get in. I was in my study, nursing a glass of scotch, when I heard footsteps in the hall, hurried, uneven. When I stepped out, I found Isabella at the back door, her coat half-buttoned, her hands shaking as she tried to force her umbrella open. "Where are you going?" I demanded. She froze, then turned toward me, her face pale. "I need to leave." "At midnight? In a storm?" She didn't answer, just gripped the handle of the umbrella tighter, as if holding on to her last line of defense. I stepped closer, blocking her way. "Isabella, talk to me." Something in my voice must have cracked through her walls, because her eyes finally lifted to mine. And for the first time, I saw not ice but fear, raw, unfiltered fear. "They found me," she whispered. The words meant nothing to me then, but the way she said them chilled me to the bone. "Who?" Her lips trembled. "It doesn't matter. I can't drag you into this. You're my employer, not anything else." Her voice broke on the last word, and suddenly the pieces fell into place. The late-night calls, the photograph, the trembling hands. She wasn't cold because she wanted to be. She was cold because she was running, hiding. "Tell me," I said, softer now. "Let me help you." She shook her head violently. "No, men like you don't save women like me." Those words again, the knife I'd been carrying in my chest for weeks. I reached out, taking the umbrella from her hands and setting it aside. "Then maybe it's time you stop deciding who I'm allowed to be." For a moment, she just stared at me, her gray eyes wide with shock. Then, like a dam breaking, the truth came pouring out. She told me about the man she'd been running from, an ex-fiancé with money, connections, and cruelty in equal measure. How she had walked away from him after he turned violent, only to discover he wouldn't let her go so easily. How she'd taken the job in my house under a false last name, hoping to disappear into the background, unseen, untouched. Every word she spoke made my blood boil, but I kept my voice steady. "You're safe here. He won't touch you. Not while I'm breathing." "Don't make promises you can't keep," she whispered. "I don't break promises," I told her. That night, for the first time, she didn't walk away. She let me sit with her until the storm outside eased, her hands clenched in her lap as if she was afraid of letting go. And I knew with bone-deep certainty that I was already in too deep. The days that followed blurred into a dangerous game. I tightened security at the house, used my resources to dig into her ex's background, and all the while, Isabella tried to keep her distance. But it was too late. The walls she'd built were crumbling, and every time her eyes softened, every time her voice faltered, I saw the woman she really was beneath the ice. A woman who had been hurt but not broken. A woman worth every fight. And then came the night he showed up. It was past 10 when my head of security alerted me. A black car parked just outside the gates, a man inside refusing to leave. I didn't need to ask who it was. I went to Isabella's room, found her standing by the window, pale as death. It's him, isn't it? I asked. She nodded, her hands trembling. If you go out there, he'll what? I cut in. Intimidate me? Destroy my reputation? Isabella, I built empires out of nothing. Men like him don't scare me. But the truth was, I wasn't just angry, I was terrified. Not for myself, but for her. For what it would do to her if he managed to drag her back into his world. I went out anyway, faced him at the gates. His smile was cold, practiced. She's mine, he said simply, as if she were property, as if love could ever be owned. No, I told him. She chose freedom, and if you so much as breathe near her again, you'll regret it. There are moments in a man's life when he realizes money isn't power. Power is standing your ground when someone tries to strip away what matters most. That night, I learned the difference. He didn't win. He left with threats on his lips, but he left. And when I came back inside, Isabella was waiting in the foyer, tears streaking down her face. You're insane, she whispered. You don't even know what you've risked for me. I don't care, I said. All I know is I'd risk it again tomorrow, and the day after, and every day after that, because I can't keep pretending, Isabella. I'm not your employer anymore. I'm just a man who's fallen hopelessly in love with you. The silence that followed nearly crushed me. But then, slowly, she stepped forward, her hand reaching for mine. Her touch was hesitant, trembling, but it was there, real. You're the only man who ever looked at me like I was worth saving, she said softly. And maybe I want to believe that's true. When her lips finally met mine, it wasn't the fiery passion I'd imagined 1,000 times. It was something quieter, more fragile, like the first crack of sunlight after a long winter. But it was real. That was months ago. We're still learning, still breaking down walls, still piecing together what it means to love after so much pain. She laughs more now. She doesn't tie her hair so tight. And sometimes, when the city lights glow against the windows, I catch her staring out. Not with loneliness anymore, but with something closer to hope. So here I am, Alexander Reed, billionaire, tycoon, the man the world thinks has everything. And I'm confessing the one truth they'll never print in Forbes. I was love-struck by my Icy Maid. And against all odds, she loved me back.